Hello! So I see you're filming Hugo here. He's just eaten 7 peppercorns. How do you feel? Not talking to me?
Like that 10 peppercorns.
Like that 10 peppercorns. Okay, how long are you going to do this, Rosie? Hey, Annie! What's the best bit of
That guy's not doing well, is he?
Annie?
That was delightful.
You have not cracked yet. You ate 10 peppercorns.
Hey, Annie! What's been the best part of Battlefield so far?
Ice skating.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I say you're Alice.
Not
yes,
Hannah,
you,
Sam.
sorry.
Don't call her Hannah. Oh, I've just stopped filming as well. Who you?
Oh well. I've continued. Just casually chilling there. You have Vicky Park as well. Yeah. Sam. That's quite
Sam,
good.
no, do not.
It's what?
Not allowed. You're not allowed to.
What are you
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this daily act of remembrance. This evening, we will sound the 29,000th ceremony in the time of the Last Post Association. Please be silent and do not applaud during or after the ceremony. Thank you. Welkom op deze dagelijkse laatstpostplechtigheid. Dit is de 29.000ste laatstpostplechtigheid in het bestaan van de laatstpost. Mogen wij u vragen niet te applaudisseren en stil te blijven tot na de plechtigheid. Dank u.
In a way, it can make good conversation. Interesting conversation.
Yeah, just chilling with friends here. So, friends, have you enjoyed this trip? I mean, have you?
Sometimes you can bring your peace. 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think we're responding that much, friends. Anyway, so James, have you enjoyed the trip?
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
What's been your best bit so far?
Probably last post ceremony.
Yeah, Jimmy. What's been your favourite bit so far?
Probably staying the nights. They were really fun. Staying up till like 4 in the morning.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Running around the corridors.
So Matt, how's your filming gone?
Oh, is he? Oh.
Good.
Right, James. Okay.
Hey Gabby. Gabby. Hey Talia.
Susie down, and then she comes in, she's like, "Are you alright now?" I'm like, no.
Oh, well, that was a nice wellies.
Yeah, I know.
The epic. Seeing a welly count here. Nice. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Camouflage wellies. Oh, no, that good. Look, you know.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gon' come.
Well, the direction that we're about to walk in is the same direction that on the 1st of July 1916, tens of thousands of men walked up to the front line. The first day of the Battle of the Somme, 1st of July 1916, is a day that's etched in the memory of the British military. Up to that point, most of the soldiers in the first year of the war were professional soldiers in the British Army. That is, it was their job, their career, being in the army. But it was quite a small army, the British Army. And by the end of the first year of the war, they had all been wiped out, the whole of the British Army, the professional army. And so the British Army then relied on volunteers to join up. There was a man by the name of Lord Kitchener. You probably know him better as the man with the big moustache in the middle of the poster with the cap on saying, "Your country needs you." Lord Kitchener was given the task of recruiting many, many more men to the British Army since all the professional soldiers had been wiped out. And he did it. There was a huge recruitment drive, lots of posters. In fact, it became seen as a negative thing if you didn't join up. And so lots of boys, quite young, decided to go with their friends to the recruiting office to join up. Now, in order to take pressure off the French who were trying to stop the Germans breaking the stalemate, because they weren't professional, the British had planned an attack. They were further up like you and me, near the River Somme, which is where we are. Butchers, although it's several miles long, shopkeepers, factory workers, road sweepers, etc., etc.
Friends.
Exactly. Which is why they were known as the Powell's Battalions. So on the 1st of July 1916, one of the great British attempts to break through the stalemate, which you've studied in your lessons, began. Began for a few reasons. Two of the main reasons was because the French were trying to stop a German attempt to break through the stalemate further down the line. If any of you studied the great German attempt in 1916. Now, in order to take pressure off the French who were trying to stop the Germans breaking the stalemate there, the British had planned an attack further up their front line near the River Somme, which is where we are, although it's several miles long, the front line for the Somme. The plan was that before the whistle would blow and the men would go over the top and charge at the German front line across no man's land, the British Army would be very prepared for this. So what they had done is they had dug many, many tunnels under no man's land to get to the German front line as close as possible and to then pack those tunnels with explosives. So having tunnelled, having packed them with explosives, the explosives were set to blow at 7:20, 10 minutes before the men went over the top when the whistle blew at 7:30. Well, I'll tell you more about Billy McFadzean as we head up to the front line, which is just behind this monument of a moose or a caribou high over, looking over no man's land.
It's been too hard to live it, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes it is.
Now what the Allied soldiers didn't know as they prepared to go out over the top was that the heavy artillery and that the tunnels that had been dug packed with mines did not destroy the German trenches at all. They had expected it to pretty much obliterate the German front line, which we'll walk to in a moment, but instead when they arrived there they discovered that the German trenches were virtually intact, untouched. Now I mentioned this fellow Billy McFadzean, who's apparently a very good rugby player in Northern Ireland, a very popular chap, who's only in his early 20s, given the job of handing out a grenade as he went down his front line. The box that he was carrying was faulty, and so the bottom of the box fell, the grenades went onto the floor, that's okay, but then he noticed 2 pins on the floor that had come loose from the grenades that they were in. Well, there was no time to find which grenades the pins went into, so he had a decision to make. He was the first casualty of the Battle of the Somme, because he threw himself onto the pile of grenades, and of course he was killed. Now, obviously Billy McFadzean has no known grave, because there was nothing left of Billy McFadzean. Now when the whistle blew at 7:30, and the men went over the top, they expected that they would be able to get to the German front line fairly easily, because the heavy artillery and the explosives would have destroyed it. And so they were given the impression that they would be able to walk across no man's land arm in arm. Well, that didn't happen. Within the first half an hour, of 801 men that were in the particular regiment that's commemorated at this spot, of 801 men, 68 of them were not wounded in the first half an hour, of 801. Now, I don't know whether you noticed when we came in, but there were 3 flagpoles. One of them was the flag of France, because we're in France. One of them is Canada, because again, this is another Canadian memorial, Canadian territory. But there was a third unusual flag. It's of one of the provinces of Canada, a place called Newfoundland. Newfoundland is now part of Canada, but at the time of the First World War, Newfoundland was a separate colony in the British Empire. And so this is known as Newfoundland Park. One of the soldiers who's commemorated on this memorial, this fellow, Second Lieutenant Eyre, was one of 3 brothers who had joined up from Newfoundland. Unfortunately, his mother, after the Battle of the Somme, received 3 letters informing her that all 3 of her sons had died at the Battle of the Somme, which was not uncommon. On the first day of the battle, there were 57,000 casualties in the British Army and the Empire forces. 57,000 on day 1.
And I go to the movie, and I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh yes it